The story we are going to read is titled, If You Give a Moose a Muffin. And the author's name is Laura Numeroff, and it's illustrated by Felicia Bond. In a forest, there was a moose chewing on some leaves, and he chewed away when all of a sudden he caught a whiff of something that smelled good. And then the moose looked around and saw a house in the distance and walked towards it. And as he inched closer and closer, there was a boy making muffins. And the boy looked over and saw the moose. And then he had an idea to toss the muffin to the moose. But if you give a moose a muffin, what'll happen? The boy tossed a muffin into the moose's mouth, and he caught it. And then he barged into the house and burst through the doors, and the boy said, and the moose came in and said, "Hey, I have a muffin, and I want some jam." And the boy said, okay, that's fine. And he looked over into the refrigerator and opened it. And he found his mother's delicious homemade blackberry jam. So he pulled out the jar and gave it to the moose. The boy grabbed a muffin and spread some jam on it and gave it to the moose, and the moose ate it happily. And then he said, "I want some more." And the boy said, "Oh, you would like some more? Okay." Then he spread some jam on another muffin and gave it to the moose, and he ate it, and the moose wanted more. And so the boy repeated the process, handing over muffins to the moose as the moose ate them all, and then they ran out of muffins. And the moose said, "I want to make some more muffins. Let's make some more." And the boy said, "Oh, okay, well, we're going to have to go to the store, and we're going to have to buy some more." So he put on his coat. And the moose smiled timidly and said, "Hey, I want to go to the store with you." And the boy said, "Okay, fine, come on." And they stepped out of the house. And when they went outside, the moose said, "Wow, it's so cold out here. I want to put on a sweater." The boy said, "Okay, sure," and gave the moose a sweater. And the moose tried to put on the sweater and noticed that one of the buttons was hanging loose. And he said, "Hey, wait a second. You need to give me a thread and needle so that I can sew this button and make it perfect." And the boy said, "Okay, sure," and got a thread and needle and gave it to the moose. And the moose started sewing away and sewing until it was perfect. The moose was reminded about his grandmother, who was so famous for making sock puppets. And then he said, "I want to make some sock puppets." He told the boy, "Hey, go upstairs and get some old socks. I'm going to make some puppets with them." The boy said, "Okay," and went upstairs and brought back the socks. And the moose started sewing and cutting away to make many different puppets. When the moose had completed making his puppets, he thought it was so cool, and he had a moose puppet and a mouse puppet and started playing with them. And then he said, "Hey, I want to put on a puppet show." Then he told the boy, "I want you to get me a cardboard box, okay, and also some paint." And the boy said, "Okay, sure," and grabbed the materials and gave it back to the moose. And then the moose said to the boy, "Come help me paint." They painted away and decorated until the scenery was complete. When they were finished painting, the moose thought it was so beautiful, and he was excited and put on his puppets and started putting on a show. But something was wrong. His antlers were so big that they stuck out above the puppets. And then he said to the boy, "Could you get me something to cover my antlers?" And the boy said, "Okay, sure," and looked around and grabbed a sheet, a white sheet, and then he handed it to the moose. And the moose was holding on to it and came up with an idea. He wanted to be a ghost, like in Halloween. And so he put the sheet over his head and he yelled, "Boo!" and scared himself so much that he fell down and knocked over the paint and made a huge mess. The paint was spilled everywhere, and the moose looked around and decided to use the sheet to clean up the paint. And he saw that there were many different colors on the sheet and said to the boy, "We need some soap to wash this sheet. The boy said, okay, and got some soap and gave it to the moose. And then he started washing away, and the sheet was clean and white again. And then he said, we need to hang it outside to dry. And the boy said, okay. And his mom was outside raking the leaves, doing yard work. And he said, wait. And the moose kept on walking and went outside the house. And the mom didn't see the moose there, but the moose kept on walking. And he noticed the mom's blackberry bush. Then the moose had an idea, and he said to the boy, do you remember your mom's delicious homemade blackberry jam? Hey! And then he galloped back into the house and said, I want some jam! I want it! And the boy said, no! And the boy said, no, and he looked over because his mom was going to come into the house. And he said, Moose, go upstairs! And then the moose grabbed all the dirty things and went upstairs. And the boy came to the refrigerator and grabbed the jam and started walking quietly. But if you give a moose some jam, that means he's gonna want a muffin.